The tray trembled in his hands as the door of Suite 1407 clicked open. Kunle, 26, slim and dark-skinned with a neat low fade and a clean hotel uniform, white shirt, black waistcoat, name tag shining, stepped in with a smile rehearsed 1,000 times. "Good afternoon, sir. Your pineapple ginger—" He froze. The duvet on the king-size bed shook like it had a secret heartbeat. A small brown foot slipped out, panicked, then hit again. Kunle's fingers went weak. He took one step closer and, without thinking, yanked the duvet. Amara. His fiancée. 24. Ebony skin. Neat, knotless braids tied back with a gold ribbon he bought for her in Belogan Market. She was hiding under the duvet, sweat on her forehead, clutching a pillow against her chest like a shield. Beside her stood his boss, Mr. Okonkwo. Tall, broad shoulders, mid-40s, clean-shaven head, and a silk hotel robe half open. The room smelled of cologne and betrayal. The tray slipped from Kunle's hands. The glass fell in slow motion and burst into bright pieces. The sound cut through his chest. His world went black before the scream could leave his mouth. He fainted. The last thing he heard as he hit the carpet was Amara whispering his name and the door handle rattling, as if someone outside was trying to get in. Kunle's eyes opened to the cold bite of the AC. He lay on the carpet, heart pounding like a talking drum. The ceiling lights blurred. He pushed himself up and saw Amara sitting on the edge of the bed, wrapped now in a white towel, her braids messy, her eyes red. Mr. Okonkwo stood by the minibar, robe tied tighter now, his expression sharp and cold. "So you just walk into VIP rooms and create a scene?" the boss asked, voice low, dangerous. Kunle's mouth opened, but no words came. He looked at Amara. She looked away. I came to deliver the drink," Kunle said, voice shaking. "Room service called." "Yes," Mr. Okonkwo said smoothly, lifting the phone. "And now I will call security, because you barged in, dropped a tray, and tried to attack a guest." Kunle staggered to his feet. "Sir, I didn't—" "Kunle," Amara whispered, not meeting his eyes. "Please, just go." The door handle rattled again. This time, it opened. 2 security men stepped in, dark uniforms, serious faces. Behind them, a floor supervisor peered over their shoulders, eyes wide with curiosity. The supervisor took in the broken glass, the spilled juice, the rumpled duvet, Kunle's trembling hands. "What is happening here, sir?" one guard asked. "My staff came in uninvited and caused a mess," Mr. Okonkwo said without hesitation. "He's emotionally unstable." Kunle felt the room tilt again. "Sir, that's not— I was sent— Please check the call log." The guards looked from boss to staff. In a hotel where power had a suite and a corner office, the choice was simple. One stepped toward Kunle. "Oga Kunle, let's go." Amara stood, the towel clutched to her chest. "Wait," she whispered. "Kunle—" Her eyes begged him to understand something he could not yet see. "Please," Kunle said to the guards, breath tight. "Let me explain." "We will go to HR," the supervisor said quickly, trying to end the scene. "We will review." Kunle looked once more at Amara. The gold ribbon was still stuck in her braids like a small, cruel memory. He stumbled out between the guards, past the curious eyes in the corridor, past the mirror that caught his reflection. Uniform straight, name tag straight, heart broken and crooked. The elevator doors closed like a mouth swallowing his voice. Earlier that same day, the sun over Lagos had risen like a promise. Kunle's mother had teased him in their small kitchen at Adigun. "My son, soon we will dance at your introduction," she said, tying her wrapper, gray braids tucked into a scarf. "Don't delay it too much. Life waits for no one." Kunle had laughed then, washing plates while the radio hummed High Life. "I won't delay, Mama. After we pay this term's rent, I'll buy the last items. I want Amara to wear that Ankara you like, the teal one with gold patterns." His mother smiled, pride shining in her eyes. "She is a good girl. Keep her close. And pray, my son. Pray." At Victoria Crest Hotel, Kunle moved like a man who loved his job. He had learned to read guests' moods, to notice when a table needed a napkin before anyone asked, to carry 2 trays with the grace of a dancer. He wore his uniform clean and his shoes polished. He liked the way guests smiled when he spoke softly, respectfully, like a Lagos breeze after rain. But money was tight. His father was gone. His mother's blood pressure medicine was not cheap. The salary barely covered rent and food, but love made hard things lighter. Amara walked beside him through it all. At least that's what he believed. Amara worked at a small boutique on the island. She loved Ankara gowns and simple gold hoops that shone against her skin. She wore knotless braids most months because they were neat and gentle on her edges. She dreamed of a small studio where she would sew modern African dresses with a touch of old stories. "One day," she would say, leaning her head on Kunle's shoulder. "One day, we will have a shop with our names on it, Kunmara Styles." They planned names for their future children in whispers that tasted like roasted corn on rainy evenings. Kunle saved towards a better ring. He had already paid for their introduction food, the jollof, fried rice, chicken, palm wine. He had texted his uncle in Abeokuta to bring talking drums to make the day sweet. But the past 3 weeks had been strange. Amara would end calls quickly. She would say, "Auntie brought customers," or "My boss needs me late." She got a new phone, very fine, and said she paid small on installment. She began to wear perfume he didn't know. Kunle asked once lightly, "Babe, are you okay?" She smiled in a way that looked tired. "Just work, my love." That morning, Kunle had seen red heels in the hotel lobby that looked like Amara's, the exact style with the little gold buckle. He had reached for his phone to tease her about copying bougie island girls, but he decided to wait. No need to disturb her if she was at work. By noon, the front desk called, "Room service for VIP in 1407. Pineapple ginger, extra ice." Kunle nodded. He knew the order. Mr. Okonkwo, the operations director, liked that drink when he worked from the hotel suites. The man's agbada outside the hotel was always white and shining. His wristwatch told time and intimidation. People said he could lift you up in a day and send you home the next. Rumors said he liked female staff too much. Kunle kept his head down around him. The call sent Kunle to the pantry. He cut fresh pineapple, added ginger, crushed ice. He balanced the tray like always, walked like a soldier of kindness to the suite. He knocked. A voice said, "Leave it outside." He hesitated. Was that Amara's voice? No, his mind played games. He opened the door carefully with the MasterCard. "Good afternoon, sir. Your drink—" And then the duvet moved, and everything broke. In HR, the room smelled of white paper and quiet fear. A glass panel separated it from the corridor. Blinds were half drawn. The HR manager, Ms. Tenney, plump and dark-skinned with short natural hair, adjusted her glasses. "Kunle, we will talk. Take water." He didn't take it. He stared at his hands, at the tiny cut from the broken glass, at the drop of pineapple juice now dried on his cuff. "Security says you entered without permission," Ms. Tenney said. "The guest will send a statement, the director also." Kunle's head jerked up. "With respect, Ma, please check the call log. Room service called me. I knocked. I heard someone inside." "The file will be reviewed," she said in that HR tone that promised nothing and everything at the same time. "But for now, we need you to hand in your shift phone and ID. Go home and wait for our call. Do not speak to any guest about this." Kunle swallowed the knot in his throat. "And Amara?" Ms. Tenney's eyes flicked up. "Who is Amara?" Kunle's breath stalled, so no one would say her name. He stood, legs unsteady, handed in the phone and ID, and walked out into the corridor that suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else. In the staff locker room, the air smelled of iron and soap. Lockers clanged, laughter bounced from a corner where kitchen staff teased one another, but everything around Kunle sounded far away, like voices underwater. Chinedu, the IT intern, 22, dark-skinned with short twists and a thin mustache, popped his head in. "Guy, I hear Wahala. You okay?" Kunle's mouth trembled. "I saw her, Chinedu. My Amara. With him." Chinedu's face grew sober. "Ha! My guy. Was I blind?" Kunle whispered. "Did I not love enough?" Before Chinedu could answer, Auntie Areti, the senior housekeeper, 52, strong arms from years of lifting linen, Geel always tied sharp, walked in with a laundry bag. She looked at Kunle long and steady. "My son," she said quietly, switching to the gentle lilt that older women use when a heart is bleeding. "Evil sometimes wears perfume. Sit down. Kunle sank onto the bench. I have worked here since before you were born, she said, lowering her voice. This place has corners you don't know. Sometimes men in big offices use small doors. There is a hidden connecting passage between 1407 and 1409 that is not on the normal plan, an old design kept for VIP privacy, and there are call logs that can disappear when the right hand presses the right button. Kunle stared at her. Auntie, keep your head, she said. You are a good boy. Don't panic. If you shout now, they will paint you as mad. If you are quiet and smart, you will see what you need to see. She looked over her shoulder, then slipped something into his palm. A small, universal keycard, the kind senior staff used. This will open the service hall on 14. Be wise. Chinedu glanced toward the door. I can check the CCTV, he whispered. If the files are not gone. Kunle's heart beat with the first tiny spark of fight. Please. They moved like shadows. Chinedu led him through the service stairs, past the hum of laundry vents, into the small CCTV room where 3 screens lit the darkness. He pulled a chair, typed fast, and clicked the date. Okay, he muttered. Let's see corridor 14. The screen split into squares. One showed the lift. One showed the hallway by 1407. One showed the service pantry. Chinedu scrubbed back to an hour earlier. The corridor was empty. Then, there, Amara appeared from the lift, wearing a teal Ankara dress with gold patterns, the one Kunle had mentioned that very morning to his mother. She looked nervous, clutching her small handbag. A few seconds later, Mr. Okonkwo appeared from the other side, not from 1407, but from the service passage near 1409, the one Auntie B.R.T had whispered about. He looked left and right, then gestured. Amara followed him. The two disappeared toward 1407. Kunle's fingers dug into the chair. Why, Amara? Chinedu clicked his tongue. My guy, hold yourself. They watched more. 5 minutes later, the service phone at 1407 picked up. Then, on the log screen, Chinedu pulled the call history. Room service call to pantry, he read. Placed by 1407. See? You were called, Kunle. Kunle's heart rose and fell. Proof. But proof inside a lion's den was still a fragile thing. Suddenly, one of the screens flickered. A small window popped up. Remote access request. Admin. Chinedu's brows knit. Ah, who is requesting remote access? This is local. Before he could click deny, the screen went black, then white. Then the footage list began to disappear, one by one, like someone was plucking their truth out of existence. Chinedu swore under his breath and yanked a flash drive from his pocket. I made a local copy just now. Small clip only, but it shows Amara entering. Save, save, save. Footsteps approached in the corridor. Loud ones. Authority ones. The door handle turned. Chinedu jammed the flash drive into his pocket and spun his chair to face the screens, trying to look bored. Kunle stood, wiped his face, swallowed emotion like bitter herbs. The door opened. 2 security men stepped in with the floor supervisor. Behind them, a familiar cologne entered like a storm. Mr. Okonkwo filled the doorway, expression calm like a lake hiding crocodiles. Gentlemen, he said, we have a problem. My staff here, he pointed at Kunle, is interfering with restricted systems. We were checking a routine, Chinedu began, but the supervisor cut him a warning look. Kunle, Mr. Okonkwo said mildly, you are suspended pending investigation. If you are wise, you will go home, keep quiet, and let this pass. I do not want to involve the police for electronic trespass or theft. Kunle blinked. Theft? The boss gave a small, sad shake of his head. Suite 1407 reports that a pair of diamond cufflinks has gone missing. Very expensive. If they appear in staff lockers, it will be unfortunate. Chinedu's eyes widened. Sir, that's not fair. Mr. Okonkwo's gaze cut to him. Young man, you have a bright future. Don't burn it. Kunle felt the floor tilt again. He had entered the day with a pineapple drink and a plan for a life. He was leaving it with empty hands and threats. The supervisor cleared his throat. Kunle, please collect your things, then go home for today. Kunle walked out, shoulders straight by force, heart a storm. The corridor lights glared. A cleaner pushed a cart, humming a hymn. Somewhere, a phone rang. Somewhere, laughter, the kind that lives on people who are safe. At the staff lockers, his hands shook as he fit his key. He almost laughed at himself. "You see?" he whispered to nobody. "I am checking a locker like a thief in a film." He opened the metal door. On top of his folded spare uniform sat a small hotel towel, neatly rolled. It had the hotel logo on it, the bright blue wave that usually made him proud. His fingers hovered above it, afraid. He didn't have to open it to know what lay inside because his blood already recognized the trap. But the mind plays games. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was a leftover chocolate or bar soap someone mistakenly put there. Maybe... He unrolled the towel. Inside was a small velvet box. He lifted the lid with 2 fingers like it would burn him. Twin diamond cufflinks sparkled like cold stars, throwing tiny lights on the locker walls. Beside them lay a micro SD card, the kind used in phones or tiny cameras. His heart stuttered. Boots scuffed the floor behind him. He did not turn. A voice at his back, official and heavy, said, "Kunle, what is that?" He closed his eyes. The security guard stepped closer. Another appeared at his left. The supervisor inhaled sharply. The room felt smaller, like the walls moved in. "Kunle Adewale," the guard said, voice hard now. "You are under arrest for theft and tampering with company property." A palm touched Kunle's shoulder. It was not harsh, it was final. Somewhere down the corridor, a woman's voice cried out once, sharp, broken. Kunle turned his head. Through the open door, he saw Amara at the far end, half hidden behind a pillar, eyes wide and wet, her teal Ankara now covered with a borrowed staff cardigan. She shook her head, lips forming words he could not hear. Then she lifted her hand, as if to say, "Don't speak, don't fight, I will fix this." Or maybe it meant forgive me, or maybe it meant nothing at all. The guard reached for Kunle's wrists. The micro SD card slipped from the towel and fell to the floor with a small click that sounded louder than thunder in his ears. It rolled toward the drain. Chinedu, who had entered quietly, darted his foot out and stopped it with his sneaker. "Sir," the guard barked, "don't move." Chinedu froze, eyes on Kunle. The elevator down the hall dinged. The doors opened. A figure stepped out. Auntie Iredi, Geel tall, eyes like a mother whose children are in danger. Behind her stood someone Kunle did not expect at all. Ms. Tenney from HR, face pale, phone pressed to her ear, whispering fast. "Everyone stop," she said, voice shaking for the first time that day. "Don't cuff him yet." "Madam," the guard said, confused. "But the—" "Stop," she repeated, eyes flicking to the micro SD card at Chinedu's shoe. She ended the call and pointed down the corridor. "Because if you arrest him now, you will bury something bigger than those cufflinks." "What bigger thing?" the supervisor demanded. "The truth," she said. The corridor dropped into a silence so heavy it had weight. All eyes turned toward the HR manager. Even Mr. Okonkwo, who had appeared like a shadow behind her, went still, his smooth voice finally quiet. Ms. Tenney swallowed and looked straight at Kunle. "I just got a call from someone who says the camera hidden in 1407 saw everything, and they want to talk. Now." The guards glanced at one another. Amara covered her mouth. Kunle's heart banged against his ribs. "Where?" the supervisor asked, trying to sound in charge. "In the old storage room by the service stairs," Ms. Tenney said. "They said if we don't come in 5 minutes, the video goes to the internet and the police." Mr. Okonkwo's jaw twitched. Kunle stared at the micro SD card, at Chinedu's foot, at Amara's shaking hands, at the cufflinks that glittered like cold water. 5 minutes. The guard lifted the handcuffs halfway, hesitating. "Madam?" "Hold," Ms. Tenney said, voice steadying with decision. "We are going to that storage room. Now." And as the group began to move, some with fear, some with anger, some with secret hope, Kunle felt the floor underneath his life tilt again. Not down this time. Somewhere new, where truth had teeth. They turned toward the service stairs. The storage room door was closed. From the other side came a single sound, the soft click of a phone camera being set on a table, and someone whispering in a voice Kunle knew too well. "Please don't hurt me, I'll talk." The handle turned. Comments, like this story, and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist. Would you forgive Amara or fight for the truth? Tell me below. Kunle's breath caught as the storage room door creaked open. The dim yellow light flickered inside, illuminating a cramped space stacked with old boxes of linen, unused banquet chairs, and cleaning supplies. In the center, on a dusty table, sat a black smartphone, its screen glowing faintly, camera light still on. Beside it, trembling like a trapped bird, was Amara. Her teal Ankara dress clung to her braids undone, her eyes swollen from tears. Everyone froze. The guards, the supervisor, Ms. Tenny, even Mr. Okonkwo, who stood slightly behind, arms crossed like a predator, pretending to be calm. "I'll talk," Amara whispered, clutching her towel tighter over her dress. "I can't keep this anymore. It's too much." Mr. Okonkwo's eyes darkened. "Amara." His voice was low, dangerous. "Think carefully. Words spoken cannot be taken back." Amara shook her head, tears spilling. "Sir, please. I have been silent for weeks, but he—" She pointed at Kunle, her voice breaking. "He doesn't deserve this. Kunle is innocent. He has done nothing but love me." Kunle's heart twisted painfully. For a moment, he wanted to look away, but he couldn't. "What are you saying?" Ms. Tenny asked sharply, stepping forward. Amara's knees shook. She reached for the smartphone on the table, opened the gallery, and tapped a video. The screen lit up with moving images, the hotel suite, captured in hidden camera clarity. The duvet thrown back, Amara climbing onto the bed, clearly nervous. Mr. Okonkwo pacing, holding a phone. Then, unmistakably, his voice. "Call pantry, order the drink, make sure he delivers. I want him to see." Everyone in the room gasped. Kunle's legs nearly gave way. He clutched the doorway, chest rising and falling like a drumbeat. "You set me up," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "You wanted me to see this with my own eyes." Amara sobbed harder. "I didn't know he would take it this far. I thought it was only an affair. I was foolish. I was weak. But I didn't know he would try to destroy your job, your life. Enough!" Mr. Okonkwo's roar silenced the room. He stepped forward, veins bulging on his forehead. "This girl is lying. She's protecting him because she knows what she has done. This is nonsense." But Ms. Tenny's eyes narrowed. "Sir, the voice on that video is yours." The guards looked at one another uneasily. Even the supervisor's lips pressed tight. Mr. Okonkwo's gaze flicked around the room like a cornered animal. Then slowly, he smiled. A cold, dangerous smile. "Do you know who I am? Do you think this small drama can touch me? This hotel runs because of me. That recording? Admissible where? You think you can destroy me with one shaky phone video? I will crush you all." The lights in the storage room flickered again, as if the building itself was holding its breath. Kunle stepped forward at last, his hands clenched into fists. His voice came out steady, deeper than he knew he had. "Sir, you already destroyed yourself. You made me see with my own eyes. You made her regret. And now the truth is no longer just between us. Everyone here has seen it." Mr. Okonkwo's smile faltered. For the first time, his mask slipped. Amara wiped her tears, lifted her chin, and whispered, "I'll testify." The corridor outside echoed with sudden footsteps. Heavy, urgent. A man in a navy blue suit appeared in the doorway, holding an ID card that flashed under the dim light. It read, "Corporate Audit Compliance." Behind him came two more men, carrying briefcases. The entire room went still. The man in the suit glanced at the smartphone, at Kunle, at Amara, then at Mr. Okonkwo. His lips curved into a thin, knowing smile. "We've been expecting this moment. Subscribe for the next chapter, and don't miss what happens when the auditors reveal their cards." The air in the storage room thickened as though the walls themselves were listening. The man in the navy blue suit stepped forward, his polished shoes echoing on the cement floor. He was in his late 30s, ebony-skinned, clean-shave, with a sharp fade haircut. His tailored suit hugged broad shoulders and his eyes glimmered with authority. He flashed his ID card again. Olumide Adigun, head of corporate audit compliance. Behind him, his two assistants set down their briefcases on a chair and quickly opened them, revealing files, stamped envelopes, and sleek tablets. "Mr. Okonkwo," Olamide said calmly, but his voice cut through the tension like a blade. "We've been running a quiet internal investigation for months, and it seems today everything has aligned." Kunle blinked, stunned. He turned to Ms. Tenney, whose face showed a mixture of fear and relief. You knew something?" he whispered. Ms. Tenney nodded slightly. "There were whispers, Kunle. Complaints buried, documents missing, female staff resigning suddenly. But without proof, no one dared speak." Mr. Okonkwo let out a harsh laugh. "So this is the little play? Audit team barging in, hoping to scare me? Do you know how long I've run this place? Do you know who sits on the board? One call and you will all be jobless by sunrise." Olamide's eyes didn't flinch. "One call, sir? Go ahead. Because what I have in these files cannot be erased with one phone call." He tapped his tablet, and one of his assistants projected a video from a portable screen. Gasps filled the room. The footage showed Mr. Okonkwo in another hotel suite, different day, different woman, slipping an envelope into her handbag while she cried silently. Another clip showed him ordering a staff member to fix the logs after a guest complained. Another one captured him accepting a brown envelope from a contractor in the parking lot. Kunle's knees weakened, his chest swelled with rage and relief at once. So this wasn't just me. He has been doing this all along. Olamide's gaze softened briefly on Kunle. "You were the unlucky one he tried to frame today, but your misfortune has become the final piece we needed." Mr. Okonkwo's mask cracked. His voice rose, sharp, venomous. "Lies, fabrications. Do you think this will hold in court? You think my people won't burn this whole audit team alive?" The guards who had once stood firm at his side now shifted uncomfortably. One of them, tall, dark-skinned, with a scar across his jaw, finally spoke. "Oga, with respect, we've served you for years, but this evidence—" He trailed off, shaking his head. Amara stepped forward, trembling. "Everything is true. He lured me. He made promises of money, of position. I was foolish enough to believe. But today I saw how far he would go. He told me he wanted Kunle destroyed so he could be rid of him. He said love is a weakness. He said, 'Shut up!'" Okonkwo bellowed, his voice booming like thunder. He lunged forward, but the scar-faced guard stepped between him and Amara, hand on his baton. Olamide raised a hand. "Mr. Okonkwo, from this moment you are officially under suspension pending a criminal investigation. We will notify the board tonight. Security will escort you off the premises." Silence. Then came a sound none of them expected. Slow clapping. Everyone turned. It was the hotel's general manager, Madame Ifeoma, a regal woman in her 50s, ebony skin glowing, short, gray-tinted natural hair under a perfectly wrapped purple geal. She had been standing quietly at the back of the corridor, listening. Her gold-rimmed glasses reflected the dim light as she stepped forward. "I have been waiting for this day," she said softly. "Okonkwo, your pride has been your weapon, but today it is also your downfall." Her eyes shifted to Kunle. "Young man, you fainted because you saw betrayal, but you stood because you found truth. Hold your head high. Your story is not ending here. It is beginning." Kunle swallowed hard, tears stinging his eyes. For the first time since the nightmare began, he felt the ground steady beneath his feet. But Okonkwo wasn't finished. He smirked, eyes glinting with dark cunning. "So you think this is over? You think exposing me will free him?" He pointed straight at Kunle, venom dripping from his tone. "You don't know what I know. That boy's bloodline carries secrets even darker than mine." The room froze. Kunle's heart skipped. "What are you talking about?" Okonkwo chuckled bitterly. "Ask your mother. Ask her about the debt your late father owed me. Ask her why she begged me for mercy years ago. You are not as clean as you think." Kunle staggered back, confusion clouding his face. My mother?" Madame Ifeoma's face darkened. Olamide frowned. Amara's sobs turned to gasps of disbelief. The tension coiled tighter. Truth had been revealed, but now a new shadow loomed. Kunle whispered almost to himself. "What debt? What did my mother do?" Okonkwo's cold smile widened. "Oh, you don't know? Then let the next storm begin." Kunle's world tilted again. His hands felt cold, his breath shallow. The words, your mother and debt, echoed in his mind like thunder rolling across an endless sky. Stop playing games, Okonkwo, Madame Ifeoma snapped, her voice sharp as a whip. This is not the time to drag innocent families into your mess. But Okonkwo only leaned back against the wall, folding his arms, his lips curling in a smirk. Innocent? Ah, if only you knew. Kunle's heart pounded. Tell me what you mean, he demanded, his voice cracking but firm. Okonkwo's eyes glimmered. Years ago, when your father was still alive, he worked under me. A clever man, yes, but he gambled with more than money. He owed me so much that your mother came on her knees begging me not to throw you all onto the street. I agreed to her plea, but I never forgot. That debt has never been repaid. Gasps filled the room. Amara clutched her chest. Ms. Tenney's pen slipped from her fingers. Kunle shook his head violently. You're lying. My father died an honorable man. My mother, she raised me with dignity. She would never bow to you. Believe what you like, Okonkwo said, shrugging. But the truth has teeth, and soon they will bite. Olumide stepped forward, his eyes blazing. Enough! We are not here for your melodrama. You are being taken into custody for corruption, harassment, and attempted frame-up. Guards, take him out. The scar-faced guard and his partner moved closer, but Okonkwo lifted his hands slowly. Fine, take me, but know this, the sins of the father always follow the son. As the guards cuffed him and began to escort him out, Okonkwo turned his head, locking eyes with Kunle. His smile was a cruel scar. Ask your mother what she gave me that night. Ask her. Kunle's knees buckled. The words stabbed at him. Auntie Areti rushed forward and caught his arm before he collapsed. My son, don't let the devil's lies drown you. Stand. But Kunle's mind spun. Mama? What did you do? Madame Ifeoma placed a firm hand on his shoulder. Kunle, listen to me. That man thrives on poison. Don't drink it. You will destroy yourself if you do. Focus on the truth we already hold. Yet the seed had been planted. Kunle's chest tightened as doubt clawed at him. He thought of his mother's tired eyes, the way she sometimes grew quiet whenever his father's past was mentioned. Could it be true? Olumide cleared his throat, redirecting attention. We will handle Okonkwo legally. For now, Kunle, you are cleared of all accusations. Your record will be restored, and your suspension lifted. You can return to work. The words should have felt like victory, but Kunle felt no joy. His heart was heavy, weighed down by Okonkwo's last jab. Amara stepped closer, her voice trembling. Kunle, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I destroyed everything, but please, don't let his words destroy you too. Kunle looked at her, eyes hard with pain. You already did. Her tears flowed freely. She reached out, but he stepped back. At that moment, Olumide's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, his face tightening. This is unexpected, he muttered. What is it? Madame Ifeoma asked. Olumide looked up slowly. The board has called for an emergency meeting tonight, but not just because of Okonkwo. They said, there are questions about Kunle's family name. Someone leaked information about his father's debts to the press. Kunle froze. What? Olumide nodded grimly. The board wants to know if employing you puts the hotel's reputation at risk. A deadly silence fell. Even the hum of the AC felt louder. Who leaked it? Ms. Tini asked, her voice sharp. Olumide glanced toward the corridor where Okonkwo had been taken. Who do you think? The man may be in cuffs, but his reach is long. Kunle's stomach turned. First betrayal from his fiancée, then humiliation at work. Now his father's name dragged into fire. Auntie Areti squeezed his hand. My son, do not fear shadows. If the truth is hiding, only your mother can bring it into light. Kunle nodded slowly, his jaw tight. Then I need answers. Tonight. He lifted his eyes to the group, his voice steady but filled with storm. I must go to Adigun. I must ask Mama what really happened between her and that man. The room erupted in murmurs. Madame Ifeoma frowned deeply. Be careful, Kunle. Truth has power, but it also has a price. Amara whispered through her sobs. Please, Let me come with you." Kunle's eyes burned as he stared at her. "No, you've already chosen your side." The decision was made. As the staff dispersed and Olamide prepared his files for the board, Kunle walked slowly toward the staff exit, Auntie ready by his side, Chinedu following close behind. The Lagos night awaited outside, full of noise, of secrets, of danger. Kunle clenched his fists, his voice a whisper to himself. "Mama must tell me the truth, no matter how dark." Behind them, Amara sank to her knees, sobbing into her palms. And in a corner of the corridor, unseen by most, a shadowy figure in a leather jacket pulled out a phone, dialed a number, and whispered, "He's going home tonight. Should we follow?" A deep voice on the other end chuckled softly. "Yes, follow him. The boy thinks truth will save him. Let's see if he survives it." The night breeze in Lagos carried a mixture of fried plantain smoke, car horns, and whispers of secrets. Kunle sat in the back of a rattling Kiki Napep beside Auntie Iredi, while Chinedu trailed them on an Okada. His mind was a storm, replaying Okonkwo's words over and over. "Ask your mother what she gave me that night." Every syllable gnawed at him like fire ants. When they reached Adigun, Kunle stepped down. Their family's small bungalow stood under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight. A row of worn zinc roofs lined the street, children played 10-10 in the dust, and the smell of burning wood hung in the air. His heart pounded as he pushed the creaky gate. His mother, Mama Adewale, sat on a wooden stool by the doorway, peeling yam into a basin. Her gray braids were tied with a faded scarf. Her wrapper was simple, her eyes calm but weary. She looked up, her face softening into a smile. "My son, you are back early today," she said, rising to embrace him. But Kunle stepped back, his chest heavy. "Mama," he said, his voice shaking. "I need to know the truth. What happened between you and Okonkwo years ago? What did Papa owe him? What did you give him?" Mama froze. The knife slipped from her hand and clattered into the basin. For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of mosquitoes and the distant shout of a street vendor. Auntie Iredi cleared her throat, sensing the weight of silence. "Sister, it is time. Evil has carried your son's name to the streets. If you don't speak, the lies will swallow him." Mama Adewale's eyes glistened. Slowly, she sank onto the stool, hands trembling. "Kunle, your father was a good man, but he had weakness. Gambling. He lost money. Plenty money to Okonkwo. When the debt grew too big, Okonkwo came for our house. He said we would sleep in the street." Kunle's throat tightened. "And then?" Mama's voice broke. "I went to beg him, on my knees. I told him I would do anything, just to give us more time. He laughed and said he wanted collateral. Something valuable. Something that would guarantee our silence." Her tears fell freely now. "So, I gave him the land documents your grandfather left us in the village. Our only inheritance. He promised he would return them after your father paid. But your father died before he could. Okonkwo never gave them back. That land, Kunle, it is still in his name today." Kunle staggered back. His blood roared in his ears. "So all these years, he held power over us with land that belonged to our ancestors?" Mama nodded slowly. "Yes, my son, and he threatened that if I ever spoke, he would destroy your future. So I kept silent." Kunle's fists clenched. He already tried, but no more. This ends now. Just then, Chinedu rushed into the compound, his chest heaving. "Kunle, someone is watching the house." Kunle spun. "What do you mean?" "I saw a man in a leather jacket with a cap standing by the corner. He was on the phone. When he noticed me, he moved away quickly." Auntie Iredi's eyes hardened. "That's no ordinary bystander. Okonkwo still has dogs in the street. They're watching you." As if on cue, the sound of tires screeched outside the compound. A black SUV rolled slowly to a stop. Its tinted windows reflected the dim streetlight. Kunle's stomach dropped. The driver's door opened. A tall, broad man in his 40s stepped out, bald head gleaming, wearing a navy caftan. His eyes scanned the yard, cold and sharp. Mama Adewale gasped. "It's him. Okonkwo's cousin, Alhaji Musa." Musa adjusted his cufflinks and smiled darkly. "Kunle, my boy, your boss may be in handcuffs tonight, but don't think you are free. That land belongs to us now. Your mother gave it willingly. If you push too far, we will take more than land. We will take blood." The neighbors peeked through their windows. The children's game stopped. Silence gripped the street. Kunle stepped forward, his voice trembling but defiant. "You will not threaten my family again." Musa chuckled. "Bold words, but do you know what happens when small men challenge lions?" He snapped his fingers. Two men stepped out of the SUV, faces hidden under caps, their hands tucked inside jackets. Mama Adewale clutched her wrapper, whispering prayers under her breath. Auntie Areti moved in front of Kunle like a shield. Chinedu's fists balled up, though fear flickered in his eyes. Musa's smile widened. "You have a choice, Kunle. Walk away and keep silent, or fight and lose everything." Kunle's chest heaved. He felt the weight of his mother's secret, the sting of Amara's betrayal, the shadow of his father's debt. But deep in his soul, fire burned. "I will fight," he said, voice steady as stone, "even if it costs me everything." Musa's eyes narrowed. His men reached inside their jackets. And then suddenly, sirens wailed down the street. Bright lights flashed against the zinc roofs. A police van skidded to a stop behind the SUV. Armed officers jumped out, rifles raised. Musa's smile faltered for the first time. From the back of the van, Olumide stepped out, holding a folder high. "Alhaji Musa, you are under investigation for illegal land seizure, extortion, and organized crime. Step away from the family now." Kunle's mouth dropped open. "Olumide, how?" Olumide's eyes met his. "You're not alone in this fight, Kunle. We found the land records. Your family's name is about to be restored." Musa's face twisted with fury. He raised a finger toward Kunle. "This isn't over. The boy has woken a storm, and storms destroy." As the officers moved in, Kunle felt his mother clutch his arm, whispering, "My son, the truth is rising, but can you carry its weight?" Kunle swallowed hard, his eyes locked on Musa being dragged into the van. The fight wasn't over, it was only beginning. The police van rumbled away, carrying Alhaji Musa and his men into the night, but his last words hung like smoke in the air. "The boy has woken a storm, and storms destroy." Kunle stood frozen in the compound, his fists still clenched, his mother gripping his arm tightly as if he might be snatched away any moment. The street slowly returned to life. Children whispered, neighbors peeked from windows, women murmured prayers. Yet the air still carried tension, like thunderclouds hiding behind the stars. Olumide walked forward, his face firm, suit slightly rumpled from the chase. He extended the folder in his hand to Mama Adewale. "Madam, these are copies of the land documents your late husband left. Our team discovered them hidden in the hotel archives under Okonkwo's directives. It proves the land was never legally transferred. It still belongs to your family." Mama Adewale's lips trembled as she touched the folder like it was sacred scripture. "You mean, after all these years, my husband's inheritance is still ours?" Olumide nodded. "Yes, but the battle isn't over. Powerful men do not lose quietly. Musa was only the face. Behind him, there are darker hands." Kunle's jaw tightened. "Then let them come. I'm ready." But his mother shook her head. "No, my son. Anger makes you reckless. A storm cannot be fought with fists. It must be endured with wisdom." Auntie Areti clicked her tongue. "Wisdom or not, this family has suffered enough. If there is war, let it come. We will not bow again." Chinedu, still panting from the encounter, stepped forward. "Olumide, how did you know to come here tonight?" Olumide's expression hardened. "We intercepted a call from Musa's men. They planned to pressure Kunle into silence. Once we heard Adigun, I knew where to find you. But you must understand, this isn't just about land anymore. It's about exposure. Okonkwo is desperate. He will try to use Kunle's family name to shield himself." Kunle's stomach twisted. "So everything he said about my father's debt..." Olumide's eyes flickered. "There is truth, but twisted truth. Your father borrowed, yes, but he never owed what Okonkwo claimed. The land was enough collateral to clear the debt. Yet Okonkwo kept both the money and the land. It was theft, disguised as power." Kunle's heart burned. So he destroyed my father's name for nothing. His mother whispered, "For greed." Before relief could settle, headlights cut across the compound once more. Another car, sleek, silver, with tinted windows, pulled up. The neighbors gasped, stepping back into shadows. The back door opened. Out stepped Amara. Her teal Ankara dress was wrinkled, her face streaked with tears, but her eyes burned with determination. She walked straight toward Kunle, ignoring the stares. "Kunle," she whispered, voice trembling but strong. "I know I don't deserve to stand here, but I came because I found something that can finish Okonkwo once and for all." Kunle's chest tightened. Rage, betrayal, love, all warred inside him. "Why are you here, Amara? After everything, why now?" Amara held up a small black flash drive. "Because I cannot live with this guilt anymore. Okonkwo made me do things, hide things. But I copied his private files before he was arrested. These documents, contracts, bribes, secret accounts, they can destroy him and everyone backing him, but I can't deliver them alone. They'll kill me if they find out. I need your help." Silence fell. Even the night seemed to stop breathing. Auntie Areti crossed her arms. "And why should this boy trust you? You betrayed him once. You may be doing it again." Amara's tears spilled. She sank to her knees, lifting the flash drive high. "Because I regret it. Every moment, I regret it. Kunle, I swear on my father's grave, I want to make this right. Please, let me." Kunle stared at her, his heart torn between fury and a flicker of the love he once knew. His mother's hand gripped his tighter, her whisper soft but urgent. "Be careful, my son. A snake does not change overnight." Olumide stepped closer, eyeing the flash drive. "If what she carries is real, it could bring the entire network down. But if it's false, it's another trap." Chinedu looked at Kunle. "So, what do we do?" Kunle's chest rose and fell, eyes locked on Amara. His voice, low but firm, cut through the night. "We test her truth. Tonight." Amara's hands shook as she extended the flash drive toward him. "Then test me." Kunle reached for it, his fingers brushing hers. The weight of betrayal and hope pressed heavy in that small piece of plastic. But before he could take it, the flash drive slipped from her trembling grip, falling onto the dusty ground with a dull thud. At that exact moment, a shadow moved across the street. The man in the leather jacket, the same one Chinedu had seen earlier, stepped into the glow of the streetlight. His eyes locked on the flash drive. His hand moved to his waistband. "Kunle!" Chinedu shouted. "He's armed!" The night erupted. The moment stretched thin like glass about to shatter. The flash drive lay in the dust between Kunle and Amara, its tiny shape glowing under the streetlight. The man in the leather jacket stepped closer, his hand sliding out of his waistband. Cold metal gleamed. "Gun!" Chinedu shouted again, his voice cracking. Without thinking, Kunle dove forward, scooping the flash drive into his palm just as the man raised his pistol. A shot rang out, sharp, splitting the night. Sparks flew as the bullet ricocheted off the zinc gate. Women screamed from their windows, children cried. Auntie Areti reacted with surprising speed for her age. She grabbed the yam basin beside Mama Adewale and hurled it at the gunman. It clattered against his arm, throwing his aim off for a heartbeat. "Run!" she shouted. Olumide pulled Kunle by the shoulder, dragging him toward the back of the compound. "We can't fight him here! Too many civilians!" The gunman fired again. The bullet tore through the wooden stool where Mama had been sitting seconds earlier. She screamed, dropping to the ground as Chinedu pulled her behind the wall for cover. Amara, still on her knees, reached for Kunle. "Give me the drive. He's after me, not you." Kunle's eyes blazed with fury. "No, you already sold me once. This time, I keep the truth." The gunman advanced, reloading swiftly. His voice was low, cold. "Hand it over, boy. That drive isn't worth your life." Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, police returning. But would they arrive in time? Kunle's chest heaved. He looked at Amara, at Chinedu, at his mother trembling in the corner. Then his gaze hardened. "You want it? Come and take it." The gunman aimed again. But before he could pull the trigger, Chinedu burst out from behind the wall, wielding a long wooden pestle he had grabbed from the kitchen. He swung with everything in him. The pestle smacked the gunman's wrist. The pistol flew into the dust, clattering under the SUV's tire. The compound erupted in chaos. Neighbors poured out, shouting, throwing stones, banging pots. The gunman tried to fight back, but the crowd surged, overwhelming him. Within minutes, the returning police van screeched to a halt. Officers leapt out, dragging the man away in cuffs as he spat curses. "You think this ends here? That drive belongs to men more powerful than you can imagine. You are walking into death." The van roared off with him, leaving only dust and fear behind. Kunle stood in the center of the compound, sweat dripping down his face, the flash drive clenched tightly in his hand. His heart hammered against his ribs, but his eyes burned with new fire. Olumide stepped forward, his tone urgent. "Kunle, we must secure what's on that drive immediately. If it truly contains what Amara says, then it's dynamite, but if we delay, more men will come." Amara staggered to her feet, her face streaked with tears. "Please, Kunle, believe me this once. I want to make it right. Take it to the audit office. They can expose everything." Kunle's jaw tightened. His voice was low but sharp. "You'll come with us. If this is a trap, I want to see it in your eyes." Amara nodded, defeated. "Then I will come." Mama Adewale clutched her son's arm, whispering prayers. "Kunle, be careful. These people, they kill for less than land. Don't let greed swallow you like it swallowed your father's enemies." Kunle kissed her forehead gently. "Mama, I'm fighting for truth. For Papa's name. For us." Olumide looked at his watch. "We have to move now. My office has a secure system. Once the files are copied, no one can erase them." Chinedu grinned weakly, still holding the pestle. "Then let's go before more leather jackets show up." Together they piled into Olumide's car. Kunle, Amara, Chinedu, and Auntie Iredi squeezed in the back. Mama remained behind, neighbors surrounding her protectively. The silver sedan sped through the Lagos night, past blinking kiosks, crowded streets, and the restless hum of a city that never slept. Inside the car, silence reigned. Kunle clutched the flash drive tightly, staring at its plastic shell as though it were a ticking bomb. Amara sat beside him, stealing glances, her lips trembling with words she couldn't say. Finally, she whispered, "Kunle, if I die in this fight, promise me you'll remember I tried." Kunle didn't look at her. His jaw clenched, his eyes forward. "We'll see if you tried when we open this drive." The car sped into Victoria Island, toward the tall glass building where audit compliance kept its headquarters. The night felt heavy, as though unseen eyes watched from every shadow. As they pulled into the underground parking lot, Olumide parked and turned to them. "Stay close. Once we get upstairs, everything will be secure." But as Kunle opened the door to step out, a sharp metallic click echoed in the darkness. From the far corner of the parking lot, headlights flared. A black SUV rolled forward slowly, its windows lowered, just enough to reveal the barrel of a gun pointing straight at them. Amara gasped. Chinedu cursed under his breath. Auntie Iredi crossed herself. Kunle's fingers tightened around the flash drive. The SUV door opened. A tall silhouette stepped out, calm, dangerous, with a voice that dripped venom. "Hand me the drive," the stranger said, "or none of you will leave this garage alive." The underground parking lot hummed with silence, broken only by the low growl of the SUV's engine. The man stepped fully into the dim light, tall, dark-skinned, bald, his eyes sharp and cold. He wore a fitted black agbada that swayed with every step, and around his neck glimmered a gold chain. His presence alone commanded fear. Olumide stiffened. "Chief Adigun," he muttered under his breath. Kunle turned sharply. "Who is he?" Olumide's jaw tightened. "Okonkwo's most powerful backer, a board member, one of the hidden hands I warned you about." Chief Adigun's lips curved into a slow, menacing smile. "Ah, so this is the boy causing all the noise, Kunle Adewale. I've heard of you. Brave, but foolish. You're carrying something that doesn't belong to you." Kunle's fists tightened around the flash drive. "It holds my family's truth. It belongs to me." Chief Adigun chuckled softly, the sound echoing in the garage. "Truth?" He shook his head. "Truth is what powerful men decide it is. That drive in your hand can burn down empires, and empires don't fall without crushing the ants beneath them." Chinedu muttered. Omo, this man they speak like villain for Nollywood. Silence, Adigun barked, his gaze locked on Amara. And you, the traitor, you should have stayed hidden, girl. You think your little regret makes you safe? No, you signed your death the day you copied those files. Amara trembled but forced her voice out. I don't care. Do what you want to me, but the world will know the truth. Chief Adigun raised a finger, and 3 men in black suits stepped out of the SUV, each armed. The garage filled with the metallic clicks of cocked weapons. Olumide whispered urgently to Kunle, We cannot fight here. If they kill us, the truth dies with us. But if you can distract them long enough, I can signal my team upstairs. They'll lock the servers and stream whatever is on that drive directly to the board and the press. Kunle's heart thundered. He looked at the flash drive, then at Chief Adigun's eyes, cold, merciless. He knew this moment was a crossroads. Chief Adigun extended his hand. Give it to me, boy, and I may let your mother live out her old age in peace. Refuse, and her blood will be on your head. Kunle's vision blurred with rage. He saw Mama's tired smile peeling yam at the door. His father's shadow, Amara's tears, Chinedu's loyalty, Auntie Aretti's courage. His whole life balanced on this tiny piece of plastic. He stepped forward slowly, pretending to extend the flash drive. The men with guns shifted closer, their eyes hungry. Adigun smirked, already reaching out. But then, Kunle dropped the drive suddenly, letting it clatter on the concrete floor. The sound rang like a bell. All eyes darted to it. In that split second, Chinedu kicked the drive hard across the floor. It skidded beneath a nearby parked car. Adigun's men scrambled, confusion breaking their formation. Now! Olumide shouted, pressing a hidden button on his watch. Somewhere above them, alarms blared. Red lights flashed as the building's security system locked down. Chief Adigun's face twisted in rage. You dare! He lunged toward Kunle, grabbing his collar with iron strength. His breath was hot, his voice venom. You don't know who you're fighting, boy. Your father bowed before me, and you will too. Kunle's body trembled, but his eyes blazed. I am not my father. He shoved Adigun back with all his strength. Suddenly, the elevator doors at the far end of the garage burst open. A squad of uniformed officers poured out, guns raised, shields forward. At their lead was Madame Ifeoma, her purple gill sharp under the fluorescent lights. Her voice boomed, Chief Adigun, step away from my staff or I swear tonight you will sleep in Kirikiri prison. The sight froze Adigun's men. For the first time, doubt flickered in the chief's eyes. Kunle staggered back, sweat pouring, heart racing. He bent and retrieved the flash drive from under the car, holding it high. This truth won't die. Not today. But Chief Adigun's smirk returned. You think this ends here? Do you think files and policemen can break men like me? You are nothing but a pawn. And pawns don't live to see the endgame. The officers closed in, surrounding him. But Adigun raised his hands calmly, his smile chilling. Very well, take me. But remember this night, boy. Every storm leaves wreckage behind, and you will drown in yours. As they cuffed him and dragged him toward the elevator, Adigun turned his head once more, his eyes burning into Kunle's soul. Kunle clutched the flash drive tighter, feeling its weight not just in his hand, but in his destiny. He knew the battle was far from over. And somewhere deep inside, a chilling thought whispered, what if Adigun was right? What if truth itself would destroy him before it saved him? The night bled into dawn. By the time Olumide's car pulled into the glass-fronted headquarters of Audit Compliance, Lagos was already alive. Hawkers shouting, Danfo buses honking, the smell of suya smoke hanging in the early air. But inside the building, tension suffocated the air like thick smoke. Kunle walked beside Olumide, clutching the flash drive so tightly that the edges dug into his palm. Amara trailed quietly behind, her braids loose, her eyes red but determined. Chinedu stuck close, pestle still in hand like a talisman, while Auntie Aretti muttered prayers under her breath. The team hurried into the secured boardroom. Screens lined the walls, laptops glowed, and Madame Ifeoma already sat at the head of the long polished table. She wore a dark purple lace iro and buba with gold embroidery, her gill tall and commanding. Around her sat other executives, some whispering nervously. Olumide wasted no time. He plugged the flash drive into the central system. We must confirm what's on it before it's destroyed or stolen again. Everyone leaned forward as the screens flickered to life. File folders appeared, hundreds of them, each stamped with names, dates, and figures. Amara's voice shook. These are the contracts, the bribes, the payments to secret accounts abroad, and the names of board members who took shares from Okonkwo. Gasps rippled across the room. One executive muttered, "Impossible." Another whispered, "This will burn the hotel to the ground." But Kunle's eyes caught one folder that froze him. It was marked in bold red letters, Ede Wale. His hand trembled as he clicked it open. The screen filled with scanned documents, old loan agreements, signed receipts, letters written in his late father's handwriting. At the bottom of one page, a note scrawled by Okonkwo read, "Collateral secured. Wife delivered the deed personally. Hold as leverage." Kunle's throat tightened. His father's signature, his mother's handwriting, all twisted into proof of humiliation. But beneath that, a second file appeared. He clicked it. A grainy video opened. It showed a dim office years ago. His father, gaunt but proud, sat across from Okonkwo. "You may own my land," his father's voice rang out, "but you will never own my son's future. He will rise beyond you." Okonkwo's laugh filled the room in the video. "We shall see." The clip ended. Kunle's vision blurred with tears. His father's voice, defiant, strong, unbroken, echoed in his heart. Madame Ifeoma leaned forward. "You see? This was never about your family's shame. It was about Okonkwo's greed. He feared your name because your father stood against him." Olumide nodded firmly. "This changes everything. With these files, we can not only clear Kunle's name, but expose every chain of corruption. The board, the courts, the press, they'll have no choice." But before relief could settle, a deafening boom shook the building. The lights flickered. Dust rained from the ceiling. Screams filled the hallway. "What was that?" Chinedu shouted, eyes wide. A guard burst into the boardroom, panting. "Bomb! The parking lot! The SUV exploded!" Chaos erupted. Executives scrambled. Files scattered. Alarms blared. Madame Ifeoma shouted for order, but panic spread like wildfire. Olumide grabbed Kunle's arm. "They're trying to silence us before we can release the files. We must upload them now, before the system goes down." Kunle slammed the keyboard, opening the transfer portal. Progress bars filled the screens. 10%, 25%, 40%. But then, the screens flickered. A red warning flashed. "Remote access detected." Amara gasped. "Someone's hacking in. They're trying to wipe it." Olumide cursed under his breath. "Adigun still has people on the inside. If they succeed, everything will vanish." Kunle's heart pounded. He remembered the micro SD card Chinedu had saved earlier. He pulled it from his pocket, holding it high. "This is the backup. Even if they wipe the drive, they can't erase this." But before he could insert it, the boardroom doors slammed open. Standing there, flanked by two suited men, was Okonkwo himself. No longer in a robe, but in a crisp white agbada, cuffs gleaming. His wrists bore no handcuffs. His face wore no shame, only a cold, triumphant smile. "Did you really think you could bury me so easily?" he sneered, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Boys, retrieve that drive. Tonight, this ends." The room froze. Executives gasped. Kunle's blood turned to ice. Okonkwo's eyes locked on him, burning with venom. "Kunle Adewale, you should have stayed in your lane. Now I will finish what I started." The boardroom erupted in panic as Okonkwo strode in, flanked by his men. His agbada swayed like the robe of a king who believed himself untouchable. Executives shrank back, some whispering in fear, others fumbling for their phones. Kunle's pulse thundered in his ears. He tightened his grip on the flash drive. "You were arrested. How are you here?" Okonkwo smirked, his gold wristwatch glinting under the emergency lights. "Did you forget who I am? Police eat from my hand. A few calls, a few envelopes, and your so-called justice system opened the door for me. Did you really think handcuffs could hold me?" He snapped his fingers. His men drew pistols. Gasps filled the room. Madame Ifeoma rose to her feet, her guile tall and her voice steady. "Okonkwo, this madness will not stand. The evidence is already in the system. You cannot silence truth." Okonkwo's eyes gleamed. "Truth?" He chuckled darkly. Truth bends to power, but power bends to fear. He turned to Kunle. Hand it over, boy. Give me the flash drive and that micro SD, and maybe your mother will live to see another sunrise. The words sliced into Kunle like blades. His jaw clenched, fury surging through him. You already destroyed enough. I will not give you my father's legacy. I will not give you our truth. Okonkwo's smirk widened. Then watch everything burn. He gestured. His men moved forward. But before they could act, Olamide slammed his palm on the console. The progress bar jumped. 85%, 90%, 95%. Okonkwo's eyes widened. Stop that upload! One of his men lunged toward the computer. Chinedu, wielding his trusty pestle like a warrior's staff, swung with all his strength. The pestle cracked against the man's wrist, sending the gun clattering across the polished floor. The room roared with chaos. Executives ducked under the table, guards scrambled. Amara leapt in front of Kunle, her voice breaking. If you want him, you'll have to kill me first. Okonkwo's gaze flickered, his face twisted in rage. You worthless traitor! 100%! Olumide shouted. The system beeped. A green message flashed across all screens. Upload complete. Files distributed to media authorities. The room froze. Okonkwo's face drained of color, his fists clenched. No, he whispered, the word heavy with disbelief. On the screens, headlines popped up live from major networks. Victoria Crest scandal. High-ranking director exposed in massive corruption ring. Board members implicated in multi-million-dollar fraud. Exclusive. Secret files leak confirms decades of abuse, extortion, and bribery. The executives gasped louder. Some turned their eyes away from Okonkwo in shame. Others looked at Kunle with newfound respect. Okonkwo's roar shook the room. He lunged toward Kunle, but this time Madame Ifeoma herself stepped between them. She raised her hand sharply. Enough! The doors burst open again, this time with heavily armed federal officers, their badges shining. Okonkwo Adeyemi, you are under arrest for corruption, extortion, harassment, and conspiracy. Okonkwo thrashed as they seized him. His eyes burned into Kunle's. This isn't over, boy. Storms do not die, they wait. One day you will regret crossing me. Kunle stood tall, fire in his chest. His voice rang steady. The storm is over, Okonkwo, and this time truth has spoken louder than your lies. The officers dragged Okonkwo out, his shouts echoing through the halls. Silence filled the boardroom. Slowly the executives stood, murmuring amongst themselves. Madame Ifeoma walked to Kunle, her eyes soft. Your father would be proud. You did not bow. You stood. Kunle's eyes filled with tears, but his spine was straight. He turned to his mother, who had entered with neighbors after the explosion. She clutched his hand, whispering, My son, you have redeemed our name. Amara stepped forward, her face streaked with tears. Kunle, I know forgiveness may never come, but thank you for letting me help fix what I destroyed. Even if you never look at me again, I'll carry that regret. Kunle stared at her, pain and memory swirling in his eyes. He said nothing, only turned away. Some wounds were too deep for quick words. Chinedu clapped Kunle's shoulder. My guy, from Kekenapep to fighting corruption giants, Namuvi Wide Acto. His laugh broke the tension, and even Auntie Areti managed a weary smile. Kunle looked out the window. The first light of dawn spilled over Lagos, painting the sky gold. He felt the weight of the flash drive gone from his hand, replaced with something heavier but brighter, hope. For the first time, he believed his father's words. He will rise beyond you. Kunle had risen. The storm had passed, and in its wreckage, truth finally stood tall. What would you have done in Kunle's place? Handed over the flash drive, or risked everything for truth? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another epic African folktale story.